Welcome back to another episode from the Dojo. Remember, you can find this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. We've got a great episode in store for you guys today, and an interview from the one and only Furman man himself, Mike Bothwell.
Super excited if you guys check this out. You know, he might have sold the PrizePicks, but he did have an electric run for Furman in those first two games.
And it was interesting to kind of hear his takes about, you know, what it's like being a mid-major team, what that mid-major experience is like, and kind of how their NCAA tournament, you know, went from their eyes, not necessarily a spectator. So that was cool. We're really excited for you guys to check that out. But before we get there, I had a revelation in the shower that I think you need to buy into.
Okay.
You should not be placing any PrizePicks entries over 2 legs, because there is no point in my head. It is so much easier to get 2 legs right, and the 2 leg pays out 3x. So there's, I think, 99% less room for error on a 2 leg, and you're getting paid triple what you'd get paid at any sports book for 2 legs. I don't understand why there's even an option to place more than 2 when you can get 3x your money on 2 people.
I mean, I will advocate for the 2-leggers. I think they're a great bankroll builder. It's a way to step your unit game up for sure. But who wants that? You know, you need the 10x.
But if 25. You just drop a nuke on the 2 team and the nuke hits, you get paid out 3x.
Yeah. No, that's how I made 15 racks last summer.
But now
was from bankroll bobbers. That's literally how I got the chance to throw fat nukes on those 2 entries that ended up hitting for like 20 racks. But I wasn't able to get there without the 2-piece bankroll bobbers.
Like, no, I've made a commitment to myself that I will not be placing more than 2 legs on PrizePicks.
What?
Because it just doesn't make sense to me. I place 3 in a power play, 1 always sells. So why not pick my 2 favorite and then 2 more that I think could hit and just make 2 separate 2 bobbers? If they both hit, I get paid 6x.
Yeah. No.
And if one hits, I get paid 3x, so I'm already covering the one that I placed. And there's so much room for error, dude, with 4, because by the time I get to 3 and 4, I'm forcing it. The third one, I don't really love that much. I always start with 2. Every time I build a 5-team, 4-team, 3-team, I always start with 2, and then I'm like, all right, well, who can I throw in here to get a better payout? So dumb now that I think about it, because I'm forcing 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So why would I force 3 and 4 for, 8x payout when I can just bang 2s every day, pause, and get 3x my money? You know? You could even relate it to a bar. Why would I go out to the bar every weekend trying to go for a 10 and go dry for a full month when, you just settle and you get your payout?
Banging 2s on and off the PrizePicks.
Okay, well, I don't want that out there. Maybe you cut that in post. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, enough about PrizePicks. Let's get to the interview with Bothwell. Check it out.
Welcome back to the Dojo. We've got an awesome guest on today's show. I'm really, really excited about it. If you've been following me for a while, especially this year, you know that, this guy and this team, especially this year, we're huge for the kid. We got Mike Bothwell from Furman.
So hyped, so pumped. Furman was one of your sneakiest wagons, especially in Vegas during that Virginia game. That was electric. But no, super pumped, bro. Really appreciate you coming on today.
For sure. No, I appreciate you guys having me. Not the expected interview I thought I'll ever have, so I'm excited. And it's
well, let's go. We love to hear that. No, yeah, I've been a huge college basketball guy. I mean, this year especially, I tuned into a lot of Furman games, and I have to say I kind of fell in love with your game. Obviously, you were the go-to guy in Furman. Every time that I watched the games, I was like, all right, I need Mike Bothwell to come out and just put one on their head. Like, I just love the way you played, and I kind of wanted to ask you, growing up in the Ohio area, obviously, it's got to be very LeBron forward, I assume. Like, if you're coming up as a basketball player, it's got to feel very LeBron forward. Kind of growing up in that area, do you think that was something that affected your game, or is he even in your favorite players? Just because I feel as though if you're coming from Ohio and you're a great basketball player and you have offers coming at you, it's got to be almost LeBron everywhere, right? Like,
yeah, if we would have did this interview in my bedroom, you would have seen nothing but LeBron posters in there. So
okay, there you go.
Stranger Things behind me now, but my room is dedicated to LeBron, and he's had the biggest impact on me just because, I I was born in 2000, and LeBron was in high school at that time. When I first started watching basketball, understand basketball was 2003, 2004. That's when LeBron was rookie on the Cavs. So like everywhere LeBron goes, I've been. And when he broke our hearts and went to Miami, I made a decision to stay with Bron. Like a lot of my friends was like, I hate LeBron at that time, but I was like, wherever he goes, I go. Like I've been a super loyal fan. And I actually played for his AAU team growing up that he still had in Ohio. So like I've been LeBron. LeBron just had a big influence. I had never really tried to like emulate my game off him. Honestly, sometimes how he plays like pisses me off. But he's still my favorite of all time and will never, ever change. If you ask any of my friends, like I'm rocking with LeBron, right or wrong, always.
Do you have someone that you do emulate your game off of? Because I think that's kind of an interesting way to look at it, where you kind of have a favorite player, but it might not be someone that you base the way that you play off of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think I play like anyone. Like I've never tried to base my game off anyone, but I always like the left-handed players. Like, so you got like Manu Ginobili was probably like the first left-handed player that I like really was like, wow, he's left-handed. I like that. Then obviously James Harden came around, and, the step back and all of that, kind of comes from him. So I really I don't base my game off anyone in the NBA or anything like that, but I definitely like to watch other left-hand players, like when I'm studying film or something like that.
You going?
Yeah. I want to know what the vibe was like going into that Virginia game as a 13 seed, I believe, where Furman was.
Yeah.
What was the vibe like, going into this game? Did you guys, I mean, obviously, I'm sure you truly believed you could win, but, what was the energy like? What were your thoughts like going into this game?
And I just want it on record that during the selection, what was it, Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah.
Sunday.
When that game popped up, I think I tweeted and I said to everyone around me, I was like, Furman is beating Virginia. I was like, that was the one game in every single one of my brackets. I had you guys moving on. So yeah, just talk us through kind of what that was like, the drawing process, and then, the game planning, traveling. What was all that like for you guys?
Yeah, so like I gotta take it back just because I'm a 5th-year senior, and my like roommate and everything, we've been through Furman for 5 years, and every year we were so close to winning the SoCon championship. To the point of like it got such a like a goal of ours. Our school hadn't made it to the NCAA tournament since 1980, so like it was such a big goal of ours to just win the SoCon that we never really thought about like what comes after that. You know what I'm saying? So like when we did win that, we played on a Monday night. Like we were just on a high of that. We won the SoCon. And then like as Selection Sunday started coming around, we started thinking, wait, we got to play another game. Like we're about to have to play our hardest game in the season. We're about to have to play our hardest game in the season. It's in the NCAA tournament. We're going to be on national TV. We was like, wait, like, that's cool. I don't care who we play. Like, we get to play another game. Like, this is going to be fun. So, if you've seen, like, our video from Selection Sunday, like, I tell people all the time, like, I didn't even look to see who we were playing until, like, a couple, like, seconds after. I just got excited because I saw our names pop up, and I saw that we were going to Orlando. That's the only thing I noticed. And then when I saw we were playing Virginia, we had been watching Virginia, like, just watching basketball throughout the year. Yeah. And I was like, once I started like looking through the film and looking like at their roster size, like size and everything, I was like, we match up with them. Like we can play against them. They're a really good defensive team. They don't really score a lot. So like if we could score with them, we might have a chance. And then like as our coach is one of the greatest motivators there is. So like he really got us motivated and put belief in us. And yeah, once we got to Orlando, I think everyone on our team had full belief that we could win that game. So yeah, but it was just crazy. Like at first, it was just the weight of winning the SoCon was just greater than even the thought of what the tournament was going to be like.
And kind of talk me through that a little bit. I feel like as fans, maybe people that aren't as bought into college basketball and just kind of live for March Madness and the brackets, you really only hear about that Power 5 experience, like what the Michigan State locker room looks like, how Michigan State's traveling to the games. Coming from like a mid-major where, you know, having watched a lot of the games, you guys are really sharpening your teeth all year and kind of for the love of the game of basketball. You know, you might not be on the ESPN Sports Center top 10 every game, but you might have a play that could make it, but you guys just aren't necessarily getting the looks that, you know, the Power 5 gets. As like a mid-major coming into March, kind of what is that experience like for you guys, as it might differ from, you know, necessarily a Power 5 and an experience that we don't normally get to hear about a lot?
Yeah, so like at a mid-major level, like it all boils down to the conference tournament. You know, like you've seen the Big Ten, ACC, all those Big 12, like those regular season games, you know, give you tournament chances. You know, you could get a big win in the regular season that catapults you into the tournament. As we've seen this year, like there's teams that made it but were like sixth in their conference in the regular season, lost in the first round of their conference tournament. So it's like it's not as their conference tournament is important to them, but it's not as like do or die. For us, you know, in the mid-major level, like the conference tournament is everything. So everything that you do in the season is to get ready for that. And how the SoCon does it is 3 games in 3 days. So that's really a big deal, like trying to win that. And then after, you know, you kind of just have that mentality, knowing that you're going to be an underdog. And for us, like we were hearing that we were going to be a 14 seed for like all season, like when they come up with the predictions and all that. So like, obviously for us, you want to be the lowest you can possibly be. So like a 13 seed was like a big deal for our school. I want to say it was the highest seed that Furman has ever had, which sounds crazy because it's 13, but still like it's just a big deal. So, you know, you kind of develop that underdog mentality, but you have to also just have a belief in like your way and your way works. And for us, that was kind of the coolest part. Like, I think I gave our coaches like a validation of like that their way and their culture that they've built works, because they've been going on it for a while now, but like it never really got to like that level, you know, that national attention. So just getting there, and we all knew that like that Virginia game was a big opportunity for us. And that was one word our coach kept throwing around. It's like, it's nothing but an opportunity. Don't put too much pressure on it. Don't overthink it. Like, it's just an opportunity. And this opportunity y'all all been waiting for your whole life. So just look at it like that.
That's awesome. Full transparency. I did take Virginia in that game. So I was pretty bummed out after that shot went in.
And I told him all week, I was like, listen, man, it's Furman and it's Mike Bothwell. I literally promise you. And we literally sit down as the game starts, and he's like, dude, I got Virginia. And I was like, are you shitting me, dude? Like, are you kidding me, man?
So I want to know what was going through your head as I forget who had the ball, but Virginia's cornered, you know, in the corner and forced to huck it 50 feet in the air. What's going through your head as this is all going down?
Yeah, so I fouled out in the game with like 6 minutes to go. It's probably like my 5th time fouling out my whole career. And never in a moment like this had ever fouled out. You know, I could go on and on about that, but I'm a you know, stay away from that conversation. I was fouled out, and I've been sitting there for 6 minutes, you know, just watching the team like scrap their way back into the game. So like me, I'm emotional. I'm over here like, I just want to play another game. I just want to get a chance to play another game. Like, I just not want to go out on the bench my last ever college game. I don't care like if it will be a moral victory or not. I don't care. Yeah. Like, I want to win. So when you get down to that last second, it was just a roller coaster of emotions. Like, we took the lead, we were up for a little bit, then they got the lead back, and it was like, we were close. We just couldn't finish it. I mean, it's gonna be a good game. And then I was kind of like starting to think to myself like, dang, it's gonna be close. We were close. And then Garrett on our team made 2 free throws to get it to 2. Yeah. And I saw them inbound the ball rather quickly, and I was just thinking like, okay, foul them, hope they miss. Like, they're gonna choke this free throw. Like, hope they miss. And then when I saw them get the trap, I was like, okay, like it was all going by so fast. I was just like, okay, like foul. Like, what are y'all waiting on? Foul. Then when I saw Kihei like pull his arm back to throw it, like I personally like got this like down, because I'm thinking he sees their big man all the way open and down on the court, and he's about to throw it down. He's about to dunk the ball.
Dude, that's what I thought too. I was like, when he cocked it back, I was like, oh shit, like that center definitely cut to half court. Like, we're fucked.
I'm thinking like he's about to catch the ball at the 3-point line, one dribble between the legs, windmill. Like I'm thinking all of that's about to happen. Our hopes is gonna go away. And then I was kind of like sitting down because I was like, no. And everybody like on the bench stood up, like what's going on? And I saw Garrett grab the ball and pass it to JP. And as soon as I saw JP catch it, I knew it was going in. Like I knew he was.
Dude, we did too. Dude. I was like, yo, this is March. Like I literally started screaming, March, because it was just such like a March Madness moment. Like he caught that ball a couple feet back from the line, and you're like, oh, he's pulling this, and it's gonna be water.
Yeah. And so when he made it, it like just the emotions, like it was such a swing, like getting excited because we came back. Then they took the lead back and think we were gonna lose. Thinking that somebody was about to put us on Sports Center for a dunk, and then we just went up 1 with 2 seconds left. It was just crazy. It was just crazy back and forth.
And kind of talk me through that a little bit too, because I think that's something that you don't really hear about those conversations as a fan necessarily, but as a fifth-year senior on Furman, the guy all year, kind of the go-to look every single time. When you start getting into foul trouble in a game in March, what's kind of going through your head, and what's the conversation you're having with the head coach? Is it just, just go out there and play, right? Or is it, listen, you got 3 fouls already, like let's be a little conservative? Or is it kind of like, what was that conversation you were having with your coach? And also what's going through your head when you get into foul trouble in a game that big, when you are the go-to guy and it is kind of your team?
Yeah, I mean, all coach told me was like, he made sure I was aware of my fouls. Like I said, like I'm barely ever in foul trouble. Like I don't even get 2 in the first half. Like it's rare that I'm ever in foul trouble. So it was just such a different deal for me to deal with. And it was just crazy. Like it kind of like for me, what I had to really battle mentally was just like the self-pity aspect. Cause like I personally felt like some of the calls weren't like fouls. So like I was really getting down on down about it, and I was like angry, but like I knew I still had to be there for my team. So like when I was out there with the foul trouble, I was just telling myself like, all right, don't foul, like stay smart. But Virginia they're so well coached. Like every play that I was in was coming right at me. Like every single time they drew something up that was just daring me to foul them. So and even like my 5th foul was just like genius on their part. Like I was looking to box out, but Clark threw the lob so that like I ran into his guy's legs. Like it was just they just really good at what they were doing. So yeah, it was just tough though. Like the toughest part was just the mental like strength of like still being there for my team, even though I kind of felt like I was getting like served a bad hand. But I honestly had to just like put myself like beneath the team, because like obviously like I had dreams of going in that game and dropping 30, solidifying myself as like the GOAT, you know what I'm saying? But like it was bigger. The game was bigger than that, and I had to like make sure I was there for my team and just serve in the way I could. And I mean, I think that makes it more memorable than if I would have dropped 30. Like obviously we'd be having different conversations, but I think just that win and how I was able to help the team, even though I wasn't playing, I think that will stick with me longer than if I would have had like an amazing statistical game, honestly.
Yeah, 100%.
Love that. Did you get any like free cool shit by going to the tournament? Do they have anything cool for you guys once you got there?
Yeah, I mean, the coolest thing is they just give us so much like degree and like acts and stuff like that. Like the first day we probably had like 4 like bottles of Axe, like 2 deodorants, like soap, Dove soap. Then like
keeping the boys fresh. They're like you're never gonna smell bad again.
They're just keeping us fresh. And I'm thinking like, okay, like I've seen this before. I've seen people post this, but then in the second game we got a second load of it. So I was like, how much they think we need? I was like I've never had to give away soap to people before, but I think I'm gonna have to give some out. Like
giving out deodorant to family and friends.
Like who wants some deodorant? But that was the coolest thing we got. But like we got some shorts, some t-shirts, some socks, stuff like that are cool, But the coolest part was just all the degree and stuff they gave us. I was like, wow, they stocked up on this for sure.
So I have to ask, right? I mean, in the era of the transfer portal, which, you know, I think everyone kind of has their own opinions on, whether it's helping the game, hurting the game, whatever it is, it's very rare to kind of see the loyalty that I think we've seen with you and Furman, and a guy that, you know, relatively looks like could easily make that leap to play at a Power 5 through the portal, especially in this era. What kind of kept you at Furman? Like, why Mike Bothwell and Furman? Why are those two going to go down together in the history of, you know, your legacy at that school, where, you know, when you look at the statistics, you look at the way you play, it seemed as though with the transfer portal era, you could have made that jump so easily. Why Furman? Why was it always you staying at Furman?
I think it's just the way I was raised and the way I've always done things. Like, for me, I played on 2 AAU teams my whole life, like only 2 different ones. I went to the same high school all 4 years, and I'm telling you, people were trying to get me to, because I went to a small private school, so like people were trying to get me to leave every year. I went there for middle school, and going into high school, people were trying to get me to go to their schools. Like, but it was just always my thing. Like, no, I'm gonna make a name for myself here. You know what I'm saying? So when I got to college, you know, obviously with that extra year, I really only had a year to really think about like that I had an extra year. So like when it came that time of last year ending, the way we ended, I don't know if you guys are familiar, just like with the buzzer beater, how we lost in the conference tournament last year.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of just didn't feel right to leave. Even though if that was the popular decision. And I got to be honest, like it was people in my family and stuff that like wanted me to transfer, wanted me to go like somewhere bigger. But like for me, like I just went back to like what has always worked for me, like staying loyal, like staying with the people that's got me where I am today. And honestly, like I really believed in our coaches, and specifically Coach Ritchie. Like, no, I didn't think I could play for a better coach that really cared about me genuinely and cared about my progress as a player and person the same way. And you know, I was thinking, like, if I go to a high major, like, they're only going to use me as a filler, probably. Like, they will use me as a role player. And, like, why would I do that when I can be a leader on this team at Furman and make an impact that will last longer than anything I could do at any other school? And, you know, I'm glad I stuck it out. But I was really just thinking about just what I had as a team. And then also my teammates, like, it would have been too hard to leave them. We're so close. Like, we hang out every day, like always hanging out with each other. So that was just another part of it. Like we have such a close group of teammates that like it was just all of that mixed in one.
And kind of, I would love to know when you talk about that conference championship, losing on the buzzer beater the year before, I believe, if I'm not incorrect, it was against the same exact team as well, right?
Yeah, it was the same. It was against the same exact team we beat this year. Yep.
And you went viral for a moment towards the end of the game. If you could just kind of like talk me through that, like what I like, you know, you said it, you know, March was a great kind of extra chapter on the story, but winning that conference championship and that conference tournament was something that, you know, was going to go down for you as probably one of your greatest accomplishments. Talk me through the getting towards the end of that game, because you went viral for a little moment. I kind of want you to talk about it. But talk me through getting towards the end of that game when it starts setting in that, all right, we did this thing. Like we did this thing after getting like our hearts taken out of us the year before. We're back here again and we're doing it this time.
Yeah, so like that conference tournament in itself was another emotional roller coaster. Like we were down at halftime of the quarterfinal, and in my career we've lost twice in the quarterfinals, being the higher seed, like 2 seeds. So like it was one of those like, oh, not again. But we ended up winning that game, having a great second half. In the semifinal game, like we were down and out. Like it wasn't looking good late in the game, but we somehow found our way to win in overtime.
Wow.
So that was crazy. And then we get to the championship game, and that game was a little roller coaster. Like we were up big, lost the lead. They came back, went up again, double digits, and they kind of chipped their way back. So that game, it's like emotions of that weekend was just crazy. There's just a lot going on. And then when I finally Marcus Foster and our team hit 2 huge threes to kind of like seal the deal late. And that at that moment, I kind of realized that we were going to win it. And that's when I just started thinking about all the years and all the people that's like been with us all this time and all the former players and all of that. I just started thinking about that on the court. Like, wow, we really did this for Furman. Like, this is what we set out to do. And like, we're finally getting it done. Like, it's been a long time coming, but like, we're finally getting it done. And the moment I think you're talking about is just when I went to the same spot that I fell out on the court. And, that's not something I thought about doing beforehand. But me, I like to keep receipts. So my background on my phone, my screensaver from that game, it was on my phone for 365 days, was me watching the confetti fall with one of my teammates from the year before, because I just wanted to always remember that feeling. I wanted to always motivate me. So like I like to remember stuff like that. So I just, when the game was ending, I went back to that same spot I felt out in. And like I've told a lot of people, like I didn't think any cameras was going to catch that. Like I didn't really care. Like I just wanted to do that for me. Like I wanted to not close that chapter in my life, but like I wanted to, kind of, erase that memory. And that was the whole mission of the year, like turning that pain into purpose. So that's what I was basically doing in that moment. I was going back to where I had like a big painful moment in my life and turning that same spot into like a joyful place. So that was just what that was.
I love it. That's dope.
Like so cool. I was just saying, like such a, like as a fan of the team, like this year, and having known the history of last year, kind of that little small moment, like it fires you up as a fan too. Like something that you think, the cameras aren't going to catch, that, you don't think is as big as it might be. But I'm telling you, there are like little Furman fans out there that kind of watch that. We're like, yeah, like we just got our lick back, and he went back to that same exact spot where we lost last year. Like that fired me up, seeing like all the clips and, seeing it live and all that stuff. So I just want to say, like, that moment was just so cool as a basketball fan. Like I feel like you don't get that a lot as an athlete to, run the same scenario back again. Like I think a lot of athletes always talk about that. You get that one chance and it's kind of like, damn, if I could do that all over again. And it was cool to see you guys kind of get that opportunity to do it all over again. And then you go back to that same spot, but this time as like a winner, and being like, yeah, like this spot was probably living in your head all year. Like you said, 365 days, like that spot was just like, must've been brutal. And to like come back and conquer that must've been so cool.
Yeah, it was super cool. And like I said, that was like the whole purpose of the season. Like obviously we knew it was a new team, it was a new goals and new everything, but for the returners, like we were all about, we knew the world was really watching this. Like it was on SportsCenter like that day. Like the shot that happened a year ago was on SportsCenter that day. Like everyone kept remembering that. Like it wasn't going away. So like we had to embrace the truth of that. So like that was just the whole focus of just like showing the world that like that pain of that it wasn't going to break us. It was going to like shape us into something better. And honestly, like I don't think we would have beat Virginia if that shot didn't happen against us last year. So it was just kind of cool how it just came full circle like that.
What was it like coming back to campus after the? I mean, of course, you won the first game, but once the tournament was over for Furman, what was it like coming back to campus and seeing all the students and faculty that I'm sure were cheering for you guys?
Yeah, so we got back at like 1 a.m. that night, that Saturday after we lost to San Diego State. So like it was people there though, like when we got off the bus, like some like fans and students were there like to congratulate us, welcome us home. So that was cool. I can say this on the show. I hadn't been out yet, like on a weekend, so I'm looking forward to that.
Let's go. This weekend coming up. It's Thursday today, dude. You guys better get ready to get active.
But like even on campus, like professors, students have just been like coming up to us, just telling us like congratulations and telling us how cool it was and telling us how much fun they had watching our games. And that was honestly the coolest part. Like if you ask me what was the best part about beating Virginia, it's just seeing all the fan support and all the student support at our games. Like if you're a real like Furman person, like that like basketball has big support, but like not like we had this week, like this week, last week. Like the student center was packed. Everyone was watching our games. Like in my 5 years, there was never been a time that many people have gathered together to watch any sporting event. No Super Bowl, no anything, no NBA, like nothing. So, like, to see that was crazy. And then like this outdoor bar in Greenville they saying like shoulder room only, standing room only, couldn't get a drink, couldn't get a food. It was just like you couldn't move in there, like outdoor bar like that. So like to hear about that, like those many people were coming out. I was seeing snaps from girls that ain't never been to a game, ain't never watched no sport. But they're at the bar, like watching the game, talking about basketball. Like it's crazy. Like it was just crazy to see all that support. And it was super fun. It was just rewarding, I would say.
And I'll say it for him. couple of those girls are going to get slid on Snapchat. I'll tell you what, after watching the game. No, so we always love to kind of end the interviews with a couple light questions, and then we go into what we call the rapid fire questions, where we ask you a bunch of, I'll say sillier questions. But before we get there, just a couple like lighthearted questions. Averaging 24 points per game in high school, like what is that like? Like, do you just walk on to every like floor and just like you just know that this kid was in algebra 3 hours ago and you're about to give him like the worst night of his life? Like, as a mediocrely bad high school athlete, as someone that was averaging almost a triple double their senior year, like what is that like just being that good?
Well, I'll say in Cleveland, at least, really all of Ohio, but like high school basketball is good. And then like in my class specifically, it was like a lot of buckets. Like it was a lot of people for like their respective high schools that was getting off for real. So it felt good to just be in the company with them. But like we were all like competing with each other. Like even if we didn't talk about it, like everyone wanted to have the game of the week. Everyone wanted to have that big game. And everybody wanted to get off. And I was just lucky to play with like teammates that kind of understood that and kind of like got me the ball. And my coach would yell at me if I didn't shoot the ball 20 times a game, which is not my personality. Like
I got yelled at if I took 5.
So like I was blessed to play for a coach that like believed in me that much. But yeah, I mean, especially my senior year, like I felt every game I was going to that game feeling like I was unstoppable. And it was just the work that I put in, like kind of just all built into that year. And like I was just really competitive with just like other people. Like I wanted to just be known as one of the top guys. So I was, had a chip on my shoulder.
I got to ask, are you ever aware of what the spread is going into a game?
In college?
Yeah.
Usually not. I usually try my hardest not to be aware of it. I'll say that. I try my hardest.
Were you like, obviously, going to the Virginia game, you guys know your underdogs throughout like the season? Because I know I'm sure certain teams, when you obviously, because SportsCenter even talks about it now, will say who the favorite and who the underdog is. When I was growing up, that was never even addressed. But now going into games, they might not necessarily say the spread, but they'll say, Furman's an underdog coming into this game. Like, are you guys aware of the games where you're underdogs?
I mean, it's like you said, it's kind of impossible not to, because like if you just go on the ESPN app and click on your game, like it shows you. So it's like it's kind of hard not to. I will say though, like I honestly forget about it in the game. Like if I do see what the spread is or whatever, like I honestly do forget about it. So like I'm never ever like even came close to like point shaving or doing anything like that. Like but like you said, like before the game, it is like hard nowadays not to see what it is. Like it's everywhere, like so. But honestly, and I heard this after the season, the Virginia game was the first time we were the underdog since our non-conference play, which was kind of cool. Like we were.
I never realized that.
We were
even
favored
the times I was watching you guys.
We were favored in every single conference game, including the tournament. Like so, that was cool to hear. I didn't hear that until after the season. But that was kind of cool. Like,
how did I never realize that?
How did I not know that spread was fishy and they were going to win that game?
That's a great question. So another more lighthearted question: is there a team in the conference, or even a player that you would be licking your chops when you knew you were playing because you were like, oh man, this is just going to be a long night for you? Either a team, an environment, or a player in your conference that every single time you played against them, you were like, just lace me up my nicest shoes because somebody's getting buckets tonight.
So Furman is in Greenville. Our like school rival is Wofford. So they're like 40 minutes up the road in Spartanburg. We run into each other a lot, just like just not being that far away from schools, like separated. So like that game is always like brings another intensity to you. So like it's not specific players on their team. It's just that game. Like I want to go off every single time I play against Wofford. It's just a rivalry, and it's the same way back. Like they'll say the same thing. So like that's a big rivalry. But as the past 2 years, Sanford in our conference, especially playing at Sanford, is like their environment. Like y'all, if y'all haven't seen it, like their pictures, like y'all have to find the pictures of our game against them this year. It was the last game of the regular season, and it was packed. And their student section is ruthless. Like they're there before you get there, and like I've never played in camera indoor, but I imagine like Sanford's like a JV version. Like they're crazy. So like that's what kind of gets me going. Like it doesn't really necessarily be the other players. It's when the crowd's loud and when it's packed. That turns me up. That makes me want to go off. Like when I just see a bunch of fans in the building, home or away, that's when I think I like go to like a different level.
Yeah, that's when the flip gets switched. You want to go to rapid fire?
Oh yeah.
Or do you have one?
Start us off.
All right, so Mike, this is what we call rapid fire questions. We're just gonna ask you a bunch of really simple questions, and you just got to give us your answer. Sound good?
Yes, sir. I can do that.
All right, here we go. Shower or bath?
Shower.
Okay, good. We have a bath guy here. I just want that said. Every time we do the rapid fire questions, the first question is shower or bath because we have a bath guy, and I feel like you don't need a lot of bath guys. So I wanted to introduce you to probably your first bath guy.
Oh wow. Okay, that's interesting. Okay.
God damn.
No shame. No shame. No shame.
Pizza or burgers?
Pizza.
Okay. LeBron or Jordan? So obviously,
LeBron.
I thought this answer might be a little tough, but we already kind of heard your answer. LeBron or Jordan?
LeBron.
A deep three or like a dirty layup or dunk? And by dirty, I mean like you put some kid in a blender with like a Euro or you spun on him. A deep three or a dirty layup?
Oh, a deep three if it's a layup. If it's a dunk, I'm taking the dunk. But
okay, yeah, let's go like a dirty dunk. Like you just hit someone with it and you just
dunk for sure.
All right, we'll go with the dunk. Nike or Adidas as a hooper? Which one is better?
Nike.
Okay.
Never won Adidas.
Drake or Travis Scott?
Ooh, Drake.
Let's go, dude. I knew I liked you, Mike. I knew I liked you. Wait, can I like ask you about Drake a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have like a favorite album?
Ooh. Favorite album?
Mine is Views. I don't know if that's basic.
Views is fire. Views is good, but I like even older Drake. Like Thank Me Later.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Vintage Drake.
Vintage Drake is wild.
Yeah.
Is Furman a party school? Yes or no?
No.
Damn. But this weekend I hope is fun.
It will be. It will be. I can say that.
Beer or liquor?
Liquor.
I mean that'll do it for the rapid fire questions, Mike. We really appreciate you for coming on. This was an interview we were really looking forward to. I mean, if they've been following me this year, even the guys in the house know that I've been talking about Mike Bothwell all year. So this is just crazy for me as well. So we just wanted to thank you again for coming on. And before we sign off, let the people know where they can find you. And if you got anything interesting going on, let them know.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Lord of the Courts. It's a long story. We can talk about that another time. But Lord of the Courts at Twitter, Mike Bothwell _3. Right now, I'm just in the process of picking an agent for my pro career. So just going through that process. And anybody out here have any Chipotle connections, hit me up. That's my favorite place in the world. Anyone knows me knows that I go crazy about Chipotle. Probably go twice a week. So
bowl or burrito?
Yeah, bowl or burrito.
Bowl. I get the same thing every time. Bowl.
Yeah, what's the order? Let's hear the order. So when we pitch to Chipotle, we can be like, listen, this is the Mike Bothwell order.
Yeah. I get extra white rice, always. Chicken, no beans, no heaters, nothing like that. I get corn, sour cream, cheese, and the special ingredient is the vinaigrette dressing. Got to get the vinaigrette dressing.
Dude, so I've heard about this. This is like not the first time I've heard about this. There's this guy on TikTok that every time he gets Chipotle, he's like, and if you don't get the vinaigrette, you're losing.
Wow. Yeah. I might try that out.
And then
who's winning the NBA Finals?
I think
don't say the Lakers.
The Suns are going to get it. The Suns are going to win it this year.
Suns.
The guy after your own heart.
Wow.
Wow. No, but we really appreciate you coming on, Mike. The last question I want to ask you before we wrap is what's next for Mike Bothwell? I know you said you're getting ready for your pro career. Is that the next step we're looking at?
Yeah, that's the next step. I also want to get into some sports media, sports broadcasting. So once I'm done my pro career, that's when I'll start doing that full time. But I've done some stuff at school with that and trying to practice and get some tapes together and all of that. So trying to balance that, but definitely going to prioritize my time and trying to become the best pro I can be and get in the best situation for my rookie year. So looking forward to that.
We wish you all the best, man. Keep in touch with the sports media stuff, obviously. We're definitely going to have you on again because I totally forgot to ask you about the Lord of the Court. So that's going to be the first question we do with Mike Bothwell part 2. But thank you so much for coming on again, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me.
No problem, brother. Appreciate you. Great kid. Can't wait to see what he does with his career. Interested to see what he does with the sports broadcasting. So I kind of want to stay in touch with him a little bit to see how that goes. I remember at the end of their last game, the Furman media guys gave him the mic and let him interview one of the players on the team. So that was cool. Yeah, so looking forward to see what he does with that. We really appreciate him for coming on. If you guys have any guests that you'd love to see on the show, drop them in the comments either on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you guys want to comment them. Because we're looking to try to get some more guests on, maybe some people that you guys are interested in talking to. I know we have a couple people in the chamber that we're waiting to reach out to, but yeah, I mean, great episode. I loved talking to him. It was weird for me, at least a little bit, getting to interact with a mid-major player that I feel like I just wagonized all year a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to kind of like meet the person behind the prop.
Meet the person behind stealing my units and sucking the soul out of me.
Okay. Mike, I hope you already tuned out after your interview because you didn't deserve all that. This has been another episode of the TFM Bets Show. Baseball season is upon us. So by the time you hear this, the first games will have been played. I'm not going to lie, dude. I got in the lab last night, and I already have a 3-teamer.
I already have a 4-piece.
Is the over in the Cardinals game in it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I like that, though.
That's my first leg.
I like that.
Okay. Well, by the time they hear this, that game probably finished 1-2. So that's good stuff. But this has been another episode of TFM Bets. We really appreciate Mike for coming on. And we look forward to catching you guys next week on Monday.
We'll be seeing.
Be safe.